Julie Bjelland is a psychotherapist, author, and founder of the online community Sensitive Empowerment with resources for highly sensitive people.
Welcome to the HSP podcast. I'm Julie Bjelland, and we are recording live in the Sensitive Empowerment community, which is a positive alternative to social media for sensitive people. And you can learn more at sensitivecommunity.com. Today, we are discussing the importance of understanding our value as HSPs. And we are here with Willow McIntosh. Hello, Willow.
Hi, Julie. Great to be here. Very excited to dive into this topic today.
Yes, it was your pick. Love to have you kind of lead us in and just a warm welcome to everybody that's joining us live from the community. So happy to see you guys here. We're going to connect at the end after we record. We're going to come together for those of you that are with us live and have a little chat after we're done recording today. So Willow, let us know what made you pick this topic and what's important to you to share today.
Yes, thank you. Yes. So the idea of value is something that has been such a huge part of my own journey, and also one that I know has been very important in the people that I've worked with over the years. And it's an area that I feel needs a little bit of clarity in terms of what is meant by value and why it's so important, especially for us as HSPs. So it's kind of weird in a way how, as human beings, we have to learn about our value and how sometimes we can not be in touch with our value. And when we consider that from the viewpoint of nature, pretty much everything else in nature understands its value and its role and its purpose and its place. Like, it wouldn't make sense if you asked a tree what its value is. It's like, well, you know, I'm part of the network and I'm making oxygen and I'm doing my thing. What do you mean? Of course I have value. So for us as human beings, it's interesting how through our conditioning, we have to really come in touch with who we are and understand our value. But at the end of the day, the truth of who we are and literally being ourselves is our value. That is who we're supposed to be, and that is how we bring value into the world. So as HSPs, we have this interesting conundrum where, because we feel different and because we experience the world in a different way, we process more deeply. For us to understand our value, we have to acknowledge and recognize that our perception is our value and how we process more deeply is our value and all the wonderful things that brings to the world. So when we're out of touch with our value, it can be very painful for us because we're not clear on our purpose, our meaning, our place, and our sense of self-love. So it's an area that I think is really important for us to explore so we can understand what our value is as HSPs and the importance of really claiming that for ourselves.
Yes, I love that. I wrote down what you said, being ourselves is our value. I like that. And our perception and deeper processing is our value. Willow, we came together, didn't we, as years ago now, with I could see that you had a really similar view of HSPs as I did in terms of really seeing the value, and which is what made me reach out to you when I read that article long ago that you had written. And I think it's really a beautiful thing for us to talk about that. And it's been part of why we've been labeled the dream team by so many HSPs listening to the podcast. Love to listen to us. And I think it's because we both just have this really passionate outlook on really being able to see the value in HSPs, in sensitivity. And it's such an important thing to talk about. And I know for myself, it took so many years to really feel my value, to see my value, because I spent so much time being told by society, by those around me, that there was something wrong with sensitivity in some way. And I think that I'm really happy to see in the mainstream in general that we're seeing more conversations about the value of neurodiversity, for example, and that HSPs falls under that umbrella category, that we have these incredible gifts, and that we don't want to try to make everybody the same in the world, right? We want these gifts. This is the reason why it exists in the first place.
Exactly that. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's an intended part of nature, and as Dr. Elaine Aron calls it, something that evolved for our own evolution, for the purpose of our evolution. That we had this extra ability to see more information around us for our own safety in the prehistoric times. They reckon, and its purpose has continued to grow within the human genome. So it's something that it's intended. This is a part of the natural ecosystem of who we are, and I had exactly the same experience too. Is in my younger years and early adulthood, I really didn't understand what my value was. I tried so many different career paths and businesses and jobs, and all the time I was looking outside when what I really needed was already within me. And through the embrace of that and understanding the neurodiversity of me, of how I perceive the world, how I perceive people, and the abilities that gives me, was the greatest breakthrough for me. It's like, right, my value has always been here. Like, it just needed acknowledging and developing and owning.
Yes, and that's something that neither one of us would have been doing this kind of work. That, the podcast is in 169 countries now. And this shows that, we are everywhere. HSPs are everywhere. It's in the top 5% shared and followed globally now. And that is a testament, because our whole underlying purpose on this podcast has been about being able to share these gifts. And I think about how, it is our default to kind of look outside. And if we've been raised as children to think that we have to change who we are instead of embrace who we are, and that's a huge difference. And I think that part of why it's been so powerful for us to connect and talk and share our stories and our lives is really that, we come from that kind of a background. We come from that background that told us that something was wrong with sensitivity. And it's such an important message to shift that there isn't something wrong with sensitivity. Our challenges come from the world not being set up for sensitivity, not that sensitivity is wrong in itself. And I think that we're even flipping that further to go into this paradigm shift where there's value. And we've seen that, both of us in our work have seen, when an HSP steps into that moment of really valuing who they are and getting to, experience that feeling. What comes from that? It's like the butterfly emerging from a cocoon, isn't it? And I know in your work, training HSP coaches, that you get to see and be a part of a lot of that blooming or that butterfly emerging.
Absolutely right. Yes, absolutely. Yes. And it's, and it's such a key piece that you're sharing here about these abilities and these awarenesses were not encouraged when we were younger, when we were children. And really that's no fault to the people that were raising us, because there wasn't the awareness around what the trait was and the fact that we were feeling and experiencing the world in a different way. And it is a revelation in high sensory people coming into the awareness of their abilities for coaching and facilitating, advising, the teachers in us, the writers in us. It's when we embrace the fact that we are seeing things differently and that we're able to receive more data in the area of life that interests us. And that gives us a tremendous advantage in terms of what we're creating or how we are coaching, how we're leading. And I think the embrace of that difference is where our value lies. It's having the courage to recognize we are different, and within that is what the world needs from us.
Definitely. And I've been seeing, we've been talking about this in the community too, about the value of HSPs in different work settings, whether it's teachers, healers, medical mental health field, creators, parents. There's just so much value in this trait.
This material in an excerpt from a longer podcast or video. Follow link in description to learn more.